Donald Trump is the most unpopular president in American history, and what's so much worse for the most insecure man in the country as well is that's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Donald Trump's approval rating will only go down from here. He will not win his war with Iran. Prices will not go down, and Donald Trump will not be able to stop talking about the ballroom, his gold horses, or his love for Natalie Harp. So things are only going to get worse, and Donald Trump is only going to get more humiliated, and that is exactly what is happening right now with an airport shutting down because of how unpopular Donald Trump is, and because of how much he has lost his mind. We are going to get into it all, and if you want to support our work in covering these stories, do make sure you are subscribed to this channel and leave a like on this video. Before we can get to this airport shutdown that is directly linked to Donald Trump losing his mind and becoming more and more unpopular every single day, we gotta start with just how unpopular he is. It's historically bad.
Shows that President Trump's approval rating has now fallen to the lowest of his career, only 33% approve of what he's doing, 64% disapprove. How much will that affect the midterm elections in November?
An immense amount. I mean, this is the backdrop upon which this consequential midterm election season will take place. It is Donald Trump at historic lows in popularity, the unpopularity of the Iran war, high gas prices, all of that is giving Republicans some heart palpitations here as they're going in. Now, they've done what they can do to try to mitigate this with redistricting. They expect to have more money to spend than Democrats do this fall, but none of that may actually thwart what a significant weight the president's unpopularity is around Republicans heading into this fall midterm season.
David Chalian, we always appreciate your analysis. Thank you very, very.
33% approval is a new low for Donald Trump, and he seems to be reaching those new lows all the time. So real big congratulations to you, Donald. We're incredibly proud that you have finally found something to be good at, and that's getting everyone to fucking hate you. Everybody hates Donald Trump, and it is no surprise he is waging an idiotic and unpopular war, and he doesn't even care about it. Donald Trump is bored with anything that's not him putting his name or face on something. If he can't put his ugly mug on a dollar bill or a passport or an airport, as we'll get to, Donald Trump doesn't give a shit. And speaking of airports, the problem Donald Trump is facing right now. Let's take a look at how expensive jet fuel is one of the many problems leading to this shutdown.
This time a year ago, look at this, gas is 30% more expensive than this time last summer. Diesel, 48%. That's huge. Diesel is the workhorse of this economy, right? It powers the trucks that haul all the stuff that we buy online. It powers the trains. It's what powers the tractors that farmers use. Jet fuel, 73% more expensive than this point last year. And we know that airlines have not been shy about passing those costs along.
74%. 74%. It's almost like unbelievable how bad he is at the one thing he always talked about with Joe Biden. Gas prices, gas prices, gas prices. It is all Donald Trump and the Fox propaganda outlet ever wanted to bitch and moan about. But it was not Joe Biden's fault that a war broke out between Russia and Ukraine. Joe Biden did everything he could to actually solve the problem, emptying the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and then buying back that oil at a lower price. He actually saved us money in doing so. And Donald Trump, the opposite is happening. He is creating national security issues with the fact that he's canceling green energy projects at the same time as he is driving up the cost of energy. Because again, he is a moron only concerned with making himself feel good by putting his face and his name any place he possibly can, especially the airport. And it's not going well. In fact, it's going so poorly. It's shutting the place down as people revolt. Trump's vanity airport name, change plunges. Travelers into chaos. Disruption has run riot, thanks to the tacky vanity project. We are getting new updates on Donald Trump's obsession with naming things after himself. And we have breaking news on the Palm Beach International Airport in South Florida, which has had its name since 1948. But its branding, of course, has been erased to change the name to President Donald J. Trump International Airport. The switch, the first ever where an airport has adopted the name of a sitting president, has been accepted by the aviation world. But the transition has not been easy. According to new reporting, it is LED to pandemonium for travelers using the airport who have had to contend with updated flight plans and last-minute code changes. The New York Times reported aviation groups told the newspaper that such a move is highly unusual, but not as unusual as changing the code from PBI to DJT. To give the aviation industry time to make changes, the transition has happened in phases. However, the process has confused passengers who used the airport during the time, causing confusion for a month because of the difference between the airport name and the code. So Trump is just fucking everything up. According to the New York Times, some people received notifications from travel agents and airlines that their flight itineraries had changed as of Tuesday. No flights could be booked to PBI, though they could on Monday. So, you can't book flights. And the flights are also too expensive, just because Trump needs his name on stuff, having obtained a Commons log through the Florida Public Records Act. Notice News of the United States found that torrents of angry people had bombarded the airport with messages, most of them negative. One even cited Trump saying there was a bomb at the airport and on a plane that was departing, threatening to set them off if the money wasn't sent. So we've talked about this story before, but now we are seeing more reporting that not only people are angry, but they're getting their flights confused. In Donald Trump's America, you either can't afford to fly because jet fuel has gotten so expensive. If you get on a plane, you fear it either crashing or falling apart in midair. Sometimes you can't even get on your flight because ICE has shut down your airport. Other times your airport name is changed to reflect the giant ego and massive insecurity of the man-child president. And ultimately, it just sucks generally because Donald Trump is the president. So no matter where you go or where you are, you have to grapple with that reality. This is the America that the man has built. This is why he is hated so much. Everything has to be about Donald Trump. And the reason I always come back to having to say this, because it is so important that Donald Trump is doing this right now, is because he thinks he is going to die. So if you want some positive news today, at least we have that. Donald Trump is very, very worried that he is going to die before his presidency is over, and he knows that we hate him. It's why he's changing things now, because he worries if he goes too soon, if the big obituary from heaven, the Big Mac from heaven, or it finally happens. Donald Trump thinks nothing will be named after him, nothing will commemorate him. MAGA will fall apart. J.D. Vance will do whatever Peter Thiel wants, and not what Donald Trump wants from the grave. Are you aware that Donald Trump has written J.D. Vance and If I Die notes, a note outlining what Donald Trump wants to happen with the White House, with the presidency, and with his war on Iran if he dies or is killed? Did you know that that's how much he thinks about it? I think about it a lot, too. I cannot wait until we get the big obituary from heaven. I'm sure you are the same. But it's why Donald Trump is renaming airports while he's still alive. He does not know what's going to happen after he's dead. But Donald, I can give you a little insight. It's going to be a party, okay? We're going to have a blast. It's going to be fantastic. And I think we should I think we should do it in advance. You remember that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where the guy is having, the funeral before he dies? 'Cause he's like, I want to see what it's like. When I die, I want to know what the funeral's going to be like. I think we should do that for Trump. Just let him know. Really just drive him crazy. I think that'd be a good idea. If someone put together a parade, I guess that's technically what No Kings is, but it will be the single largest day of public celebration, maybe in the history of the country. I wouldn't be surprised. We're gonna be on a bender for days. But it is also going to be an opportunity for the media, hopefully after getting, out from underneath Donald Trump's thumb, to actually do some real reporting on him. I will ensure that day that there is no whitewashing of Trump, in the same way that we saw Lindsey Graham be hailed as someone who wasn't actually a warmonger. He was a great guy with bipartisan love in the Senate. I will not allow that to happen with Donald Trump. The independent media will not allow that to happen. We will actually write the story of his life as the biggest fucking pathetic asshole Worst pedo president we've ever had in American history. And maybe, just maybe, the media will start to push back before that day comes, or after that day comes, because we just got some big news about how the media is finally hitting back.
Breaking news just this morning, Disney is filing a lawsuit against the FCC today over the administration's actions taken against ABC. The lawsuit alleges that the FCC is violating their First Amendment rights and that the White House has, here's a quote, waged a retaliatory campaign against ABC for a single reason. It disapproves of what ABC broadcasts. The FCC is currently investigating ABC's talk show The View and challenging the licenses held by ABC stations. The chairman of the FCC, Brendan Carr, he has been outspoken in going after Disney and many others, and also following the lead of the president himself here. CNN's chief media analyst Brian Stelter has much more on this. What are you hearing about this lawsuit and what does it mean?
I've just reread the lawsuit that was filed this morning in D.C. District Court. It opens with some strong words. It says, quote, government censorship is deeply un-American. And that's what Disney is alleging here, that the Trump administration is using the tools at its disposal to pressure ABC to change its content, whether that's late at night on Jimmy Kimmel's anti-Trump late night show, or whether it's during the day on the hit daytime talk show The View, or whether it's on other ABC programs. The network says it is feeling pressure from the administration and that amounts to a violation of the First Amendment. Not just because of President Trump's words, where he often maligns ABC and degrades the coverage and calls for its licenses to be revoked, but especially and more importantly through the government's actions. Earlier this year, the FCC opened a probe of The View over an alleged equal time violation. And then a couple months later, the FCC called up ABC's station licenses for a highly unusual, almost unprecedented renewal process, several years ahead of schedule. That process is widely seen as a form of retaliation against ABC for not firing Kimmel and not changing the programming in other ways. And Disney's message in this lawsuit this morning is very clear. It says that the Trump administration is bullying ABC, but that the Trump administration will come for all the other media companies as well. Quote, if the administration gets its way, the message to every media company in the country will be unmistakable. Tell only the stories the administration deems favorable or face the coercive machinery of the federal government. So Disney is saying it's suing the administration reluctantly, not trying to get into a fight with the president.
I think you can track a lot of what has gone wrong with the Trump presidency to the George Stephanopoulos settlement, right? That original $15 million that was paid out, that original. I know we're in the right, but we'll bend the knee just so Donald Trump won't harass us. Remember that? And then all the law firms caved, and then all the colleges caved, and then all the business leaders caved. If we can have a little bit of backbone, it'll go a long way. Now, business leaders love fascism, right? It's why I always say Democrats shouldn't try to say that we're the best on the economy. Like, not the GDP big number. That means nothing. Stock market go up economy. No. I want Democrats to be the party of working people, not the big vague economy. Because you can theoretically have a GDP that goes up under the fascist when we're lying about all our metrics. And Donald Trump is doing corrupt shit, right? Business leaders love him because they know if they can get in the good graces, they can get away with anything, and they can make a lot more money. That's not what we should want, though. We need people to stop bending the knee, and we need them to start bending the knee to a Democratic president. That is what we will call for on this show. And if you want to support our work, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you soon.